Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MXGP 2020. It's now round 10 of our championship mode in the MXGP class. It's Neuquen for Argentina, round 10. Here we go. So we look to the grid and away we go. The grids have dropped. Brilliant start actually on the right hand side. Of course we're going to be having to go around the long way round, so we get shoved a little bit wide, but we are into 10th position. Can we get a little bit further up, going into the right hander for the second corner as we get absolutely clobbered there from Tim Geiser on board the Honda, the big Slovenian, giving us the big don't argue as he dived by the inside trying to regain position. He's now up into 4th place with Gautier Paulan, Henry Jacobi, and I do believe is that Yaskonis or Siwa who's up there just a little bit further up the road. Can't actually quite see from where we are right now, but onto the right hand side we'll go, and hopefully we can get a better look at the leaders in a moment's time as we try and navigate this difficult circuit. One of the best tracks in the game in my opinion. I love Neuquen. I think it's a fantastic track. I really enjoy playing this one. I have a full video at some point to do of a full race here in Neuquen, but there is Henry Jacobi. He's out in the distance. We'll get a bit of a jump now. It was Jeremy Siwa, but Jeremy Siwa is now just there on the right hand side of your screen and right hand side of your pictures, ladies and gentlemen, as we now go on the right hand side for another tight corner, but we're struggling to keep up with the pace of the Slovenian, Siwa, etc. So we've got guys, the Siwa, Paulan, Jacobi, all up there trying to get away from the man who's got the red plate. As things stand, as we get a little bit out of shape there, not sure what happened. I didn't intend to go for the scrub, but for some reason the bike really whipped itself. I don't know if someone hit my rear tyre, I'm not entirely sure, but that was a bit of a scary moment for the man who is leading the World Championship as of now. And we go on the left hand side, difficult part to get right, but a nice change of direction here puts us behind Sean Simpson in 6th position. So here we go, onto the right hand side, block pass towards the rider on the left hand side, and now we get onto the left once again. Don't touch the Monster Energy sign, please. That was very close for comforts, almost bumping into that and ending our Grand Prix run, or at least race 1 of the 2 Grand Prix we have today. So now on the right hand side we'll go nice and tight to the apex just to start the corner, and then run it into the middle and then really tighten it up once again as we try and get in behind Sean Simpson. Bit of a whip for the rest of the guys, but I'm not that brave enough to do it in the first person camera. From the third person perspective I seem to do it really well, but the first person I always tend to struggle. So massive moment there as we bring on the acceleration a little bit too much. We've seen the rear tyre slide and we went practically sideways. A little bit of a scary moment for the man on board the Geben Van Roy Yamaha, of course. But now onto the rear of Sean Simpson. His KTM is not quite getting away from me as we now dive on the right hand side. Beautifully done. Massive contact with Simpson. Oh, we've cut the track, we've crashed. Oh my goodness. What a moment there. We were chasing down the Scotsman Sean Simpson. A little bit of contact as we got ahead of him. Probably a little bit of an aggressive move on my part that caused that one. But my apologies to Sean Simpson and my apologies to the fans as we've just completely scuppered our chances of a podium finish. Now you can see in the graphic in the bottom left hand corner of your screen how much quicker and further ahead those guys are on the left hand side of the screen. So for the time being we have Paul Jonas, Tony Cairoli, and a massive mistake once again for Grant. Not used to this circuit it seems. I absolutely adore this circuit here in Neuquen, but just not getting it right with the water on the track right now. It's a bit of a tough situation. We have to improve because right now 11th place is looking like our best spot to be in. Not good enough if I'm truly honest with you. So now onto the penultimate corner. We've run it a little bit deep, not quite getting into the berm that I wanted to do, but onto the left hand side for the final corner. We are in 11th place as we start the final 2 laps of race 1 here in Argentina. Let's see if we can improve upon this 11th place, because as far as the championship goes right now, it's not going to do us any favours whatsoever, and if we really want to do better here in Neuquen, we have to dig down a little bit deeper. Now, as a usual rule of thumb, this track is very much like Mazzano for me in MotoGP. I always do well here in Neuquen, and I'm surprised we aren't having that success here today. I don't seem to be doing anywhere near as well. I'm making too many mistakes and not really that competitive in the wet conditions. Let's hope for a dry race in race 2, and hopefully as well let's also hope that MXGP 2021 doesn't have so many bloody wet races, because come on, my suit's never dry in this game it seems. Every single Grand Prix session is going to be hit. Oh my goodness, look at the state of that. Completely ran it on. This race has gone heck to a handbasket quicker than you might have thought. This has just gone awful. I do apologise to the fans for not getting this job done here today. I'm so disappointed because Neuquen is such a great track and I'm making an absolute pig's ear of it here. Now we're behind Brian Boges, Jeffrey Erlings and Glenn Coldenoff. Let's see if we can get back up to 11th place, but right now a top 10 finish would be a miracle at this point, because this has been an absolute disaster. Cavellin a little bit further ahead, so we can dive over the inside of Cold enough to regain 11th. Now we have Cavellin and Jeffrey Hurlings. We might be able to get into the 9th position. Top 10 would be damage limitations, let's be honest, and Henry Jacobi sets us up for the final lap of this race 1. So now onto the right-hand side, nice and tight to the apex for the berm. Can we get ahead of Cavellin on the left-hand side for the final corner? Not quite good enough, but across the line we will go to start the final lap. So here we go, left-hand side coming up in a moment's time. I do tend to struggle a little bit going into this corner. I just can't seem to stop the motorcycle once it continues to slide as much as I stop. Oh my goodness, Glenn Coldenough practically jumping over our head. Very brave move there from the man on board the gas, but now getting ahead of him and positioning ourselves in a defensive way, we now have a chance to chase down Cavellin and Jeffrey Hurlings. The man on board the KTM just a little bit further ahead is probably going to be out of reach, but if we can get Cavellin, not too bad. The Yamaha man versus another Yamaha. I would like to finish top Yamaha, of course. So the man with the red plate right now, battling it out for 11th and 12th position. Not good, but it's certainly not the worst. Of course, we are going to get some points, but it's not going to be enough to compete with our championship rivals Clement Desal and Tim Geiser. Now, of course, the championship standings at this point don't really matter too much because there is a hell of a lot of Grand Prix still remaining, but you have to bear in mind what championship position you're in and what sort of points are on offer every single race. So coming up to the final 2 sectors, I don't believe we're going to chase down Cavellin. It just seems like he has a bit more than what we have, but we're still going to try and pursue him. Getting a nice jump there into the right-hander. We just lose a bit of time by accelerating too much. I have shifted back over to the DualShock 5 controlled, the DualSense, and the triggers are a little bit more... I have a bit more of a dead zone, so I have to push it down a little bit more, and then therefore I made a mistake again by going on the left-hand side there and cutting the track. It's so easy to do there, and that has just completely scuppered our chances of a top 10 finish. Disappointing result here in Neuquen for race 1, but let's see if we can bounce back in race 2 and improve upon this dreadful 11th place finish. So the end of race 1, Jacobi takes the victory with Powerland and Siwa in 2nd and 3rd. Geiser, Simpson, Cairoli, Jonas, Tonnes, Hurlings and Cavellin finish in the top 10. So now looking at the grid once again, and away we go. That's a better start from 11th position on the grid. We've been bumped down a bit, but now onto the left-hand side. Can we be brave enough? There's massive contact there. Shoved to the right-hand side of your screen. You've seen Jeffrey Hurlings from the left pushing us to the right as we try and go around the outside of a plethora of riders there. Very brave move from the man on board the Yamaha, and of course getting in a bit of a Yamaha sandwich there with Jeremy Siwa and Powerland, but massive leap puts us into 7th place. We're still hanging on to that position for things stand right now, but there is Siwa on the right hand side. Let him run it deep a bit, then try and get the tighter apex to then fight back. And look at all those bikes around your screen right now, getting a bit hectic to start race 2 here of Neuquen. Cairoli's alongside Siwa. Cairoli got shoved a little bit by Siwa. I'm going to try and follow through and join Jeremy Siwa into the right hand side. Oh, we make a little bit of mistake. Oh my goodness, obstacle avoided. I really don't think I did. I was trying to regain the position to get back onto the track to then make the jump, but the game said, no way, get back off. So now on the right hand side we'll go for the another tight move, going around the outside of Tony Cairoli. A better look at his boot there, that big old yellow left boot, as we now go on the left hand side. Try and get into the berm here to give us some additional speed, and then make the big jump to try and land it in the decline of that very brief part of the track. But now the third split is coming up. We're going to get a good indication of where we're going to be as we practically sit on Antonio Cairoli's shoulder for a moment, just so we get a better view of the situation. So now on the left hand side, trying to regain the position on Tony Cairoli, but Cairoli is not having any of it right now. Wonderfully done from Cairoli, but we do finally get past him into the penultimate corner. So now into the final corner to start another lap, or at least the first time lap of this session, as Glenn Coldenough is a little bit further ahead of us on board the gas. Henry Jacobi, Jonas is up there as well. I can't quite see who is ahead of him. I think it might be Brian Boges. Can't quite see from where I'm going to be the things stand, but big jump coming up now to try and get him behind Coldenough. We might be able to go around the outside if he runs it a little bit deeper or goes for that really tight apex. We're going to try the tight one. Nice and whoa! Look at the bike shaking then, a little bit of a tank slapper, but we still stay on board this Yamaha and we still continue to push forward. Look at the speed we've picked up now. That bit of a moment has given us a lot of momentum as we now go on the right hand side, dive up the inside. Yes, can we get the job done? Beautifully done. Now up into 4th position. Paul Jonas on the right-hand side. It looks like we've dispatched of him as well now. And now it's only going to be Brian Boges and can't quite see. Oh, it's Cavellin. Michele Cavellin having a wonderful race too here in Argentina. Of course, a bit similar to what we're doing. We had a terrible, terrible race 1 and now we're up into the podium positions for a potential 3rd place. Much, much better that. Much, much better improvement than we had in race 1. A bit of a disaster in the wet, but here in the dry looks to be where we are finding our feet as we go a little bit too tight to the inside line there. I did expect the game to go zoom and send me straight back to the promised land to try again, but for the time being, right hand side will go for this interesting section of jumps as we now go into the penultimate corner. One more corner to navigate and we'll get a better understanding of where we are going to be. Is it actually Brian Boges now got ahead of Michele Cavellin, so the party is over for Cavellin as things stand, but 3 Yamahas on the podium right now, just like it was in race 1, but it's not the same people on the podium. Interesting stuff here in Argentina as we now go on the right hand side. 2 laps to go here in race 2, and Neuquen, who is it going to be finishing on the podium? It looks to be a done deal in 1st and 2nd, but we have got Paul Jonas trying to spoil the party. The man on board the Husqvarna wants to get involved, and you better believe he's going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at me to stop me from getting a podium. Paul Jonas, I have had so many rivalries with him in the past MXGP games that it's probably going to continue here today. So now on the right hand side, nice jump to get into the decline of the corner and keep it nice and tight. Don't run it off track, and I tell you what, we're not out of this in a potential chance for either victory or a 2nd position. Brian Boges is a little bit further ahead of me, and there is Michele Cavellin as well. Onto the right hand side we go. They do pick up a bit of extra speed compared to myself. I can't really get that corner as good as I would have wanted to, but I do tend to stick to the same pattern. Now on the left hand side, Paul Jonas has gone down. Paul Jonas will not be competing for a podium finish. It looks like these 3 men are certainly the 3 people standing head and shoulders above the rest. Cavellin might be stood already on a podium position because he seems to be even taller than the rest of us right now in 1st position. But now onto the left hand side, Brian Boges. How's your luck, pal? We're coming for you. I have just realised that I made an incorrect comment earlier. I said the Yamahas were all on the podium, but there is a KTM spoiling the party, and of that, of course, being Brian Boges. But now starting the final lap, Cavellin taking the lead for the final lap as well. Of course, getting it into 1st position was huge for him, as he has pretty much got this one signed, sealed and delivered to M. Cavellin back in Italy. But now Brian Boges, he is there on board the KTM. The Yamaha is in pursuit. Yamaha 1-3 as things stand. Not really what I expected here in Neuquen, but I tell you what, I will take a 3rd place finish after the dreadful finish of race 1. But Brian Boges on the right hand side, we're still in pursuit, waiting for the moment for us to strike. I don't think we're close enough, but we practically jump over his head. Brian Boges has just lost 2nd place just briefly, but managed to regain the position as we now go on the right hand side. Can we go into the berm and go round the outside? I don't usually tend to make this line. Brian Boges pushing me wide. There he is, holding on to 2nd place as things may calm down just a brief moment as we go underneath the city sign. Another little bit of a nice drop. Do we have a chance? This is where Brian Boges and Cavellin pull away ever so slightly. Can we get back at him? Do we have enough to fight back against the KTM? Different motorcycles benefit in different areas. It looks like Brian Boges has got a 2nd life now, as he's really putting the pressure on Cavellin now. This is getting rather entertaining towards the end of race 2, but now giving it everything in our all. Let's see if we can get back at Brian Boges. It looks like he's got the job done. We're going to give it everything. We've got a couple more lunges to make. Do we have anything for the final corner alongside him now? Bit of contact. Do we have a lunge going over the inside for the penultimate corner? But, oh, Boges got it. No way I can get him now unless we go on the left hand side. Get up the inside of Boges, pushing me wide. Oh, 2nd place finish for Boges, and we just hang on for 3rd. So how about that for a 2nd race here in Neuquen, Argentina? Cavellin takes the victory with Boges and Grant on the podium. Koldenhoff, Jonas, Jacobi, Prado, Cairoli, Paulan and Jeremy Seewer finish in the top 10. A good day for Yamaha with 5 riders in the top 10. So now looking at the Grand Prix results themselves, Henry Jacobi takes the victory itself with Michele Cavellin just missing out by 4 points. Cavellin finishes 3rd and Grant finishes 6th place. But a look at the championship standings, we do have a 32-point lead ahead of the Honda man Tim Geiser, and a few more points going to the way of us ahead of Clement Desal. But guys and gals, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. Like, comment and subscribe if you really enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching guys as always, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now, with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.